Hi guys, so we're going to take a classic fly tonight. This is an unusual fly. This is a brown beetle, or a Farlows brown beetle. So the Beadle series were, I think they're from the 1930s, and I think they were invented by a guy called C.G. Haywood. So the idea was that a lot of the classic fully dressed salmon flies were very complicated, and these were, how would I put it, sort of like a one type pattern. They just varied the wings, and these were supposed to replace all of your other patterns. So it says, like if you had a Baron, a Blue Charm, a Jock Scott, you'd use Golden Pheasant as the wing. Whereas if you were using like a Marlodge, Silver Grey, those sort of things, you'd use Amherst Pheasant. That'd become the Speckled Beetle. There was also a red, a yellow, a buff, and I think that's it. So we're going to have a go here at the brown. So have quite a big single hook here. So in smaller sizes they would have used a silver thread or silver oval, and in these larger flies they used flat silver as their rib. So I'm going to start off with my thread. I'm going to put a little bit of silver thread or oval or whatever you want to call it up till it meets the return eye on this side. This is to try and take out the step and take this back. So they didn't tend to go, but it looks like I'm tying these off the originals in the book here. Now they didn't seem to have they didn't seem to extend too far back, so somewhere around about the middle between the point and the barb. I'll flip it over, and again a short tag, 3 to 4 turns. I'm going to try and catch that up on top, because again I want to level it out for adding on my tail. So I'm just holding on to my tinsel as I wrap forwards, then I'm coming back in tighter turns, although I don't think it's that necessary, and then taking it up onto the top. And I'll wrap back here, and here I'm trying to take the step out from the tag tinsel, essentially, because I don't want it to kick my tail up. So hopefully I should be fairly level with the tag tinsel. So the tail is a topping, but quite short, so literally not much beyond the bend of the hook. Tie that up. So we're just using really the tip of a feather and tie that up. So, as I said, because this is a bigger one, I'm going to use the flat silver as my rib. Now it's a really complicated hackling technique. So I'm going to add my silver tinsel, take it back to my tag. Then all of them were the same, so they had 3 hackles. They had like a scarlet or orange at the rear, then a magenta, which to me looks like a light claret, and then like a medium sort of blue at the front. So I have these doubled already, and I'm just going to tie this in. But if you notice here, I'm tying it in on the low side of my tinsel, so that means it'll come behind the tinsel when I start to wrap. And then I'll wind that forward till I get to the 1/3 point. And there I'm going to tie in my magenta hackle. Wrap down our viper ends. Sorry if my fingers are in the road. I'm just going to try and sort of use the thread to level the body a little bit. So we get to the next third, and I'm going to tie in blue hackle. and level it out. So trim that up. So we have our 3 hackles in place. I'm now going to take my black silk. I've taken, it's probably 2 feet or so here. And I'm going to match the tips up, and then so there's a slide in here. I'll slide it down onto the fly and then start to wrap backwards and just about touch and turn. So this is essentially the underbody that I'm creating now. So now I get as far as my blue hackle. I'm going to put my hackle pliers onto my silk. I'm going to fold this blue hackle forward, put a turn across it just to hold it in place. Then I'll continue backwards. Get to the claret. Same thing. Fold it forward. One turn to hold it in place. So I haven't reached the rear here. I'm then going to start to come forward. I'm coming forward until the point where I meet my magenta or claret hackle, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm then going to wrap my silver tinsel. So there's a lot of turns of tinsel on this, probably 4 anyway, I would think, per body section. So I haven't reached the claret hackle. What I'm going to do is put my hackle pliers onto, there's a hackle plier on the silk, and there's also one on the tinsel. So I'm then going to wrap this orange or scarlet hackle, whatever you want to call it, in behind the tinsel. With each wrap you can see that I'm sort of just holding it in place with my finger, but that's also pressing it down, which turns the stalk, and therefore it should make it lie pointing backwards. So having got to here, what I'm going to do is release one turn, which will release my claret or magenta hackle. I'm going to come in front of that, and then I'm taking my silk, and I'm going to use the silk to tie this hackle, this orange hackle off, or in, or whatever you want to call it. So then I'll trim that off. And travel forwards with the body. Until I get to the tie-in of the blue hackle, and then I'll stop again. Then I'll take my tinsel, and I'm coming then in front of the claret hackle, and we'll try and do another 4, or maybe 5 turns. I'd probably end up with more turns as we go forward. So I just want to come in front of that blue hackle front of that. Put on my hackle pliers for weight. Transfer the blue hackle forward again and tie it down again. And then wrap the magenta hackle. As you can see, it's very fiddly work. Get into the back of the blue hackle again, let it off, pull it back. Now it has to go on the inside of the tinsel there. Now if we take the silk, catch in the hackle, I'm just going to pull the stock of that forward and then finish the body out in the black floss. And just around about the return eye here. Trim that off. And then wrap this blue hackle in behind the rib. Once we get to the front here, what I'll do is take another couple of turns just to thicken it up almost like a throat and tie it in. So that is the complicated bit done, because as I said, it's an extremely fiddly body. So now I'm just going to go in and squeeze these hackles to lay backwards. And it's time for the wings. So the wings are just simple strips. I said in all of them it just varies the material that's used. So in this one it's going to be this mottled turkey. So I'll take matching strips from the two sides of the feather here. This is the center tail feather. And what we're going to do these is to tie them in tips down. I'm just going to match them up. Take them back till they're around about the length of the tail. Put in a pinch loop, and then I'm just going to pull upwards into that and then tie forwards over it, and hopefully slipped. I'm happy they're in place. Okay, tighten down on this, trim the end. Okay, so all we need to do now is varnish that, and then obviously it'll take several coats of varnish, but we'll get one clear varnish on it for now. Quite heavy. Okay, so that'll need more coats of varnish, but essentially that is our fillet tied. So that is Haywood's or Farlows Beadle or brown Beadle. So that's the brown version. This one here is the buff version. You can see, same flag, just different wing. And this is the other brown version with the golden pheasant as the tail. So I'm going to do the whole series of these here. So hopefully you like what you see. If you did, give us a like, subscribe, tell your friends. Check out the other videos on the channel, and until next time, tight lines. Thanks for watching.